All right, welcome everyone to Going the Distance, the Rocky Series podcast. I am your host, and with me, as always, is Kyle and Katie. How you guys doing? It's good to see you.
You too.
Good to see you too, my friend.
And we were saying offline there before the camera started rolling. We won't get too deep into it, but as you know, we're Canadian. Kyle and myself are Canadian, but we congratulated Katie on her country. President-elect Biden. That was who you voted for. Am I allowed to say that?
Yes, absolutely.
Now, if
And
you're,
we have a historic vice president elect.
yeah,
So she made history.
so that's exciting to see those changes. But if you are a Trump supporter, which is absolutely your right, if you're a listener who supports Trump, we just want peaceful transition and everyone to get along, and we're all in this together, as they say. So, with that Rocky spirit, let's just be nice to everybody and get along. But yeah,
Very nice.
okay. So we only have one email. Well, before we read the email, I gotta say, cue the music. All right, I can't wait as of this recording. Tomorrow's or episode 11's is the worst one ever. It's horrible.
You
I almost didn't put it on because it's so bad. It's so bad. I don't know if the guy's trolling me, but it's horrible. Anyway,
you say that every time. So I'm just surprised how many and how often new versions come out and how bad they are.
I actually was a guest on a podcast called Arcade Attack. He's Adrian. He's one of our patrons. He emails us all the time. He has his podcast called Arcade Attack, the retro gaming podcast. I was a guest on his podcast, and he had a great idea. Well, I actually thought of it, but he outed me on it, so I wanted to get your guys' take on it. He wants us to sing that version of that song together.
You guys absolutely don't want me to sing.
Oh, I can't
like
sing.
Oh, are you now? Now that you said that, I'm like, okay, yeah, I definitely want you to sing.
we could do a rap version of it. It would still be terrible.
It would be.
I could be like doing like the.
So, anyways, we're gonna do that. What we'll do is we'll probably have each of us do our own isolated tracks, and I'll overlay them or something. We'll figure it out. We got to do the cover.
Oh dear.
So you can record it on your own privately, so you can be embarrassed alone just knowing that tens and tens of people will hear it.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that under the influence of something,
Oh, please.
Yes.
just to
Definitely.
quell the nerves. You know,
Yeah.
like I could fully utilize my creative self.
I'm looking forward to it. I can't sing, but it's gonna sound great. All right, so we only have one email. So for better for worse, we only have one email. I think I think Kyle's happy to hear that. He doesn't remember doing this, but I wanted to find the part on the video. I swear, I don't know if he had a couple beers in him, but he went like this, the move along hand gesture.
Oh
And
well, I'm sorry.
it's okay. It's fine. It was just the last recording that we did. We just happened to have. It was just like for whatever
Oh,
reason.
there were a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. But this one's only one. That's how it goes. Ebbs and flows, or peaks and valleys. Okay, so do you have that one ready to go? I sent it to you late there, Katie. I apologize.
Yes, this is from Hector. I like his opening. It says, "Hello, Katie and friends. I get top billing today."
What?
Whoa,
Whoa! Whoa!
this
Um,
is bullshit. No
I,
offense,
well,
Katie.
it's likely because I have been given the honor of reading the emails.
Oh,
oh,
okay.
that's
We'll
fair.
go with that.
And Hector, look, Hector is he's a wrestler, so maybe he's turning heel on us, as they say in the business.
Ah, okay. So, hello, Katie and friends. I'm loving the Patreon version of the shows, not for the cursing, but for the little stuff that extends the episodes. Although I still listen to the edited version because of the great Creed covers.
Yeah, attaboy.
I'm nobody, but maybe it's a good idea. Before you all started the actual episode, you spoke about whether Katie and Kyle will join you for the Rambo episodes. I've been listening a lot to the Rocky Minute podcast and have enjoyed their rotating guests. I'm enjoying the Katie thoughts on the Link love scene because I had to cover my little girl's eyes when that scene popped up in theaters. I think she was only 10 at the time. Never have I had a problem having to do that with any of the original Rocky movies. She covered her own eyes in Rocky 1, but that was passionate kissing, not a whole mountain grind. It, it wasn't necessary to build the story. They could have cut to the next morning and left it to the "I'm a little sore" comment Adonis gives to help figure out whether they did or not, like in Rocky 1, which is still debatable whether or not they did go all the way.
I
Last
think
of
he's
all, that's
before you go to that. I
in
think he's
Rocky
actually
1.
yeah. I think he's still referring. What's your guys' call? Did they have coitus when they hit the floor in Rock?
I think so. I think so.
I think so.
Yeah,
But
I think so. It's always the quiet ones that just once they unleash, it's just insane. So yeah, I think
but
it was. I think honestly though, I think they had that chemistry, and there's that initial awkwardness phase and like breaking out of both of their shells to some degree. That I think once that kissing started, like I think that would have just, no pun intended, came naturally.
what do you think, Ryan?
Oh, I think they did because Adrian was just giddy as a schoolgirl in those scenes following. She got dressed up. She was. Remember that when he went out jogging to grab the meat, and Rocky comes back with the meat, and
Oh,
Adrian
she
is,
had to bone big time, man. Like she.
and
Well,
he goes just go cook the meat, and he felt bad because she was trying to get fresh with him on the couch there after the jog.
Oh, for sure.
his point is valid in that the way they did it left it to the viewer to kind of decide.
Yeah.
I do agree for a number of reasons they kind of sunk down. Yeah, there was a lot of buildup. That I hadn't thought of that the meat comment, but they immediately were like boyfriend girlfriend. Like something happened to where they were like, "Yep, we're in this now."
Yeah, exactly.
It did always bother me though in the 70s when he said that, like just make the meat. Like, don't tell me what to do. I'm not your little wifey. All of a sudden, like that always bothered me.
The good old days. Oh, the good old days.
Like, I'm not just gonna wait on you, mister.
But don't forget, he came over and apologized right away.
Yeah, that's true.
All right. But before you get to the next line here, Hector brings up a good point about he actually, as a father, he felt the need to say, okay, this is a little bit much for my 10-year-old girl to watch on the big screen. So there is something different about that scene.
Do we know what it was rated?
PG-13. Yeah.
What were the other ones? Also PG-13?
Only one, and that was Rocky 5 because of the naked drawing.
Oh, the other ones were just PG.
Yes.
Yeah, there's nothing. There's like no cursing in them really, for the most part. The violence was like boxing violence, which is generally not considered the same as like
true
other gore.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I think it would catch a PG rating even back then. I think all parents are different in the way they parent their kids and what they allow their kids to see. And personally, for a 10-year-old, I probably wouldn't have covered their eyes for that scene. But it's like it's your call as a parent. Like I totally respect the fact that other parents would. Like to me, it's kind of a borderline type of thing, on what side you fall on. Like I have a 7-year-old girl, I might not let her see that, or might let it slide because she wouldn't really understand what it's about. But 10's kind of that weird age, or like they're old enough to know, but not really that mature either. So I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think it's so much. Yeah, like whether you do or don't. It's not a good or bad parenting, whether you do or don't. It's just your call as a parent, what you want your kid.
Yeah, totally.
Like I always had the theory, and I'm sure you're the same way, Kyle, that you want to let your kids be as kids as long as they can. There's no rush. We're going to be adults for the rest of our life. That's my policy. But but it's interesting even as an adult. Like I know when I saw it watching it for this podcast, when I saw it in the theaters, I remember thinking, "Oh boy, this how far are we going to go?" I remember thinking that, like, how far are we going to go? So the fact that I even had that thought was the first time in the Rocky series. I think that's what Hector's saying. It's the first time we thought about a sex scene. Like the idea is how far are they going to push the PG-13? Like I had that thought seeing it for the first time.
What if they just dry humped though?
Do you mean
clothes
like,
on?
No, I mean, like, do you, because
Oh,
they
sorry.
did in the scene. Do you mean, like, is that all that we as viewers were supposed to think that they did?
No,
Is that what you
no,
mean?
they had coitus.
I just joking.
Yeah. Oh,
So
um,
what we do know is Cuff and Link saw Adrian and Rocky
Yeah.
have coitus, and Adonis and Bianca have coitus.
yeah.
They were present for both.
Yes, that's right. They've seen some stuff.
And Paulie with his
And
fertility magazines.
yeah, the boy have the times changed, but yeah, it's like the Rocky movies. Even though there were love scenes, it was more innocent.
Hmm.
I don't know. Yeah. Uh,
All right, let's finish this. It's a great email. He brings up another great subject here.
yes.
That's why I
So
wanted to.
yeah, he said it wasn't necessary to build a story. They could have cut to the next morning and left it to the "I'm a little sore" comment that Adonis gives to help figure out whether they did or not. Oh, then we talked about whether, like in Rocky One, that it was debatable whether they went all the way. Last of all, that scene when it's revealed that Adonis is Apollo's son on TV. I can relate a little. My family and I come from a small town slash village. My dad was well known. When the Civil War started, he was known even more. So much so that our family was almost eliminated during the Civil War. Wow.
Yeah.
Without going into further details, he was in a way the town's Rambo. Depending on what side of the government you were on, he was either a hero or a villain. When I went back home over a decade later, I was told not to say who I was and to use my mom's maiden name. Walking along, a few men asked if I was Canales. Of course, by instinct, I said yes. The rest of my vacation, I had to stay at my uncle's house in a different town just to be safe. Wow. Anyway, loving it. Keep it up. Hope you guys are doing great. Live life, Hector Canales. Wow,
Sorry,
what a
where's he from
story.
again? I can't remember.
I
Do
think
you
he's.
know,
I
Ryan?
think he's. Yeah, I feel terrible now. I believe Hector. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe he's in California.
Well, they didn't have a civil war.
Civil War. He must
Well, he's
come from
from
a
Mexico.
country.
Sorry,
Yeah.
he's in California right now, but I think he's from Mexico. Yes.
Did
Oh,
Mexico have a? I'm sorry if I'm ignorant here. Did Mexico?
no,
Like,
I don't.
I know, for example, like a friend of mine's from El Salvador,
Yeah.
Mm,
and they had a civil war.
So
Um,
recently.
within my lifetime.
Yeah.
I didn't understand Mexico having a civil war per se. Like I know they've had lots of conflict with like the cartels and the military and stuff, but um, yeah, I
maybe.
just out
Yeah.
of curiosity. I suppose
Maybe
it
he
doesn't
is
matter,
South
but
America. Maybe it is South America. That's right. There. I guess that would make more sense because I don't think Mexico's had one for a
Central
while.
Central America. Yeah. Um, wow. Well, you'll have to let us know if you feel like sharing,
I'm
Hector.
gonna. Well, I
It's,
just sent him a message. We've talked on Twitter before, so I just sent him a message. Hey, where are you from? And he'll
let
hear
us
this
know. Wow.
conversation live. So he'll. If,
That's
yeah,
yeah, that's crazy though. I mean, he does have a point, like with his dad being like the town's Rambo, and like depending on which side you're on, that character that you're either a hero or a
scary.
villain. So yeah,
I getting back to the movie part and relating to his comment. I agree that the actual scene of her like mounting him or whatever was unnecessary. I think it is important though that they showed that they were intimate together somehow, because I think when she sees that Creed is his dad, I think once you've been intimate with the person and you have that kind of closeness established, finding out a fact like that is more damaging than if you just gone on a date or something like that.
Right.
So I think establishing that intimacy and closeness first and then having that fact find is like important. But I did agree, like if you consider that scene gratuitous, yes, I think so. They could have shown um more subtly that they'd been together, like even if they woke up beside each other or something like
Sure.
that, that would have
Yeah.
been enough.
yeah,
Yeah. Well, in part
yeah.
two, we
My
definitely
being
know they
twisted.
do it because of the kid.
Yeah.
Imagine if
My
like
beef
part
with
two was
this
just like a
scene.
hard R, like it was like a Party at Kitty and Studs version.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah,
Katie,
I
I
need to
stepped.
see this. No, I need to watch Party of Kitty and Studs so I understand the reference.
Oh
Oh
boy.
I
my
mean,
god, it is so bad. It is like
generally speaking, I know, but like I now I want to see it because I've heard so much how awful it is. Yeah, I don't know.
One day.
Uh,
One day.
One day. You guys will have to review it on.
It's our we've already decided on
the
the Storm.
finale?
Yeah, that's our last episode. Will be the Party of Kidney Studs. The movie that started all will be the movie that ends that.
Oh, that's
yeah.
Yeah, you got to get me in on that, Ryan. You got to sneak me into that podcast somehow.
That's what he said. All right.
Yeah, I'm waiting for Oscar.
Yeah, it's coming. Looks like it's a tie between Demolition Man and Expendables right now, as of this recording.
Yeah.
For the poll, yeah. All right, well, that's the only email. If you want to send us an email, it's gtdwithrr@gmail.com. And guys, got a couple new Twitter followers. Have you checked lately?
Oh shoot, no, I haven't. I've been on Trump's Twitter so much, I haven't gone on mine.
Well, I've got it ready to go. I've got it ready to go for you.
I'll select.
Okay, so Kyle, you have one new follower. He is Ryan Gold. I think he's a patron as well, but he had to create a new account, so it's an old but a re-add, I guess you can say. Ryan Goldie. He appealed on Twitter, but it didn't work, so he's got a new account. That's what he said. He followed Kate. He followed Katie as well because he listens to the show. He knows who the hosts are. Katie, of course, in the lead with more followers. Being a female, it's always the case. You've got a new one called, I can't pronounce this guy's name, but it's Bad R4676. His bio is Sly Heart, so he obviously is a Sly fan. And then lastly, you have Sharifo. He is humble, honest, sincere, and genuine.
That reminds me of that parody, Amish Paradise, where he's like, "You think you're really humble? You think you're pure in heart? Well, I know no, you think you're really righteous? You think you're pure in heart? I know I'm a million times more humble than thou art."
What's that from?
Oh.
That's Amish Paradise.
Oh.
That's the Weird Al parody of Gangster's Paradise.
There you go. So if you're on Twitter and you're not following the co-hosts, you're not a true fan. That just means you're just totally ghosting the co-hosts. So that's not good.
Sad.
Yeah, sad. Very sad.
Don't make us feel bad.
That's my job. I have to shame. Shame is the only thing that works. It's the only thing that motivates people. Lastly, if you want to become a patron, join the Patreon for as little as $1 a month. You can see these live videos. They come out early, so people get sneak peeks. That means they get their emails in early. Also, the audio versions are released early. And lastly, if you don't want anything early, got a couple that don't want things early, but they just donate to give us a tip. So we appreciate that. And lastly, new iTunes reviews. We haven't had one in over a month. Come on, guys. That's free to do. People have been giving us 5 stars, but no write-ups. But yeah, send us hey, you guys are doing great, or not doing great. That's fine. We'd love to improve our show.
Yeah, like if you 5-star it, we don't really care what you say in terms of if it's negative.
That's right. 5 stars.
Substantive.
Yes, 5 stars and crap in the comments, as they say. It's all fine. Yeah, I say 5-star. Yeah, you're a 5-star disaster. Let us know why. Okay, well, that's it. So we're ready to go. We're going to knock out a lot of movie stuff now. Let's just get going.
It seems like forever.
I'm sorry. It's my fault.
No, I just forget. No, it's not. No, I was just like, oh, where'd we end up?
It was, well, we teased it, that the newscast, so we're going to replay that newscast piece. Okay.
Welcome to PTI, boys and girls. We begin today with the boxing world. Adonis Johnson, a little-known boxer being trained by Rocky Balboa, handed light heavyweight title contender Leo Sparino a second-round TKO defeat in Philadelphia last night. An anonymous source confirmed to ESPN that Johnson is the youngest biological son of Apollo Creed, fact that was kept under wraps because Johnson was the product of Creed's infidelity. The boxing world is excited to have another Creed in the ring, but Wilbon does knowledge of this affair damage Apollo Creed's legacy.
Damage his legacy? Let's go back for a second, a little history on Apollo Creed. I certainly have him right up there as maybe the best of all time. In the discussion, he slipped. He made a mistake like a lot of people. This isn't going to be the first, particularly in the boxing world.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to say it's going to kill his legacy.
I think it's an embarrassment. I think the family must have felt this embarrassment because they kept it under wraps for so long. But I really have one question. What? Can the kid fight as well as the old man?
That's a stretch.
Okay, so let's talk about that really quick. All the things they brought up there. Fair news coverage.
Yeah, I think so. They didn't take any cheap shots, I don't think.
Cheap shots, no. But I mean, I think it's ridiculous a little bit to bring up, like, does it damage his legacy? I mean, talk about, I don't know. I guess just that's not surprising. I mean, I don't think athletes are really known for their
Fidelity.
Yeah, so like big shocker there.
Yeah, Muhammad
Yeah, like,
Ali.
he's like a lot of boxers.
Sorry, say it again, Kyle.
Sorry, yeah, like he's like a lot of other boxers. It's not like it disqualifies him.
Yeah, I think we've talked about that before. I don't think it really hurts his legacy. I mean, if you are a fan of Creed because you thought he was a great father and husband, okay, then fair enough. You're like, oh well, I don't think he's a great husband anymore. But if you're a fan of him because he's a great boxer and he made some moral decisions that maybe you wouldn't make, but whatever he made is like as bad as, look, we've all had our hearts broken through trust, and that's part of life, but at the end of the day, he's still an incredible boxer. His legacy as a boxer, he didn't do a criminal activity or something illegal. He did something like it's unfortunate, but
I feel like with sorry, Katie, I didn't mean to
No,
interrupt
no, go ahead.
I feel like with this kind of thing, it doesn't necessarily kind of damages your legacy, but it's more like your likability.
oh, there you go.
And there's like a certain thing where there's certain lines you can't cross for likability, and there's certain ones you can. And like an affair is, I think, one you for if you're an athlete at least, is one you can cross, because it's understandable in the sense that people screw up and do something like that. But then if you do something horrendous, like say they found out Creed had like messed with a kid or something like that, or like the Project of Infidelity was like a 15-year-old girl, or like once you cross that line, you can mix the athletics with the personal life, where it's like, okay, I'm looking down on this person now. A good example in real life is Mike Tyson, who's going to be fighting again soon.
Mm-hmm.
But Mike Tyson is a convicted rapist. He did prison time for rape.
Yeah.
And so it's like that generally, that's way more of a line you could cross than you had a child out of wedlock, or a child from infidelity or adultery. So It's like, I think what Creed did is well within the limits of basically what you'll tolerate someone doing in their personal life and still respect them as a boxer.
That's a really good point. That our tolerance level, we almost expect infidelity among our famous athletes. It's almost surprising when they don't. Like when you hear about someone being like married to their wife for a long time, and like a really dedicated father, we're like, they stand out because of just being like what normal people consider the way you should lead your life. They did bring up, like they were posing the question to each other, like, do you think he'll live up to do you think Adonis will live up to Apollo's level of like athleticism? And they clearly thought no way. So I don't know.
It's a fair guess. I mean, Apollo in the Rock universe is the best there ever was. Yeah. He was a perfect fighter. So just to assume that a son will have that same, well, no. I have a few sons, and none of them are exactly like me in any way. I mean, some of them are better at things than I'm at, or vice versa. But it's a weird assumption to assume that because I'm good at something, they will be too, or bad at something, they'll be as well.
But there's the automatic comparison. Like now that they know that he's Apollo's son, it's like, oh, are you as good as your dad? And I think we all probably agree that he's not.
No. All right, so now we're cutting to Liverpool, England.
I found this on next payday.
Buffering, guys, sorry.
Check it out.
Creed's son?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
No.
He's got one fight under his belt.
Yeah, I know. But he's got Balboa in his corner.
No one cares about Balboa anymore. Kids here because of a name alone.
You're gonna do it.
This guy doesn't even deserve a shot.
Listen to me, this is not a negotiation, all right? Now, you're the idiot that ran around Toxteth with a gun. Do you remember that? And you are the clown who couldn't control himself at a weigh-in and lost us millions in the process. Millions, okay? So look at it again.
Okay, so to catch up our listeners, it's Pretty Boy, Ricky Conlon with, I guess, his manager, I presume. And yeah, and so basically what's happened, we're basically getting Rocky The Force Awakens. You know, it's a rehash of the original, an injured fighter. We have to get somebody on the ticket, on the card to fight the champion. So the selling point is you got Creed's son and you've got Rocky training Creed's son. It's the perfect to put butts in the seats. It is a great draw and it makes sense, but Pretty Boy is against it.
Yeah, and that's kind of the one difference between Rocky, like the original film, and this is because Creed was on board. Like Creed's the one who pushed for Rocky Balboa to fight, whereas managers were like, "What?" And then in this case, it's the manager pushing it because it's the pragmatic solution. Like, here, you're going to make a few bucks so your kids are well off while you're sitting in the can for the next 7 years.
It is weird that he's allowed to fight before going to jail. I guess that's what did he do again? He had a gun charge or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which if you're in America, you'd have been fine.
Yeah,
because he was in England.
I love these two though. Everything about it. I love the accents. I like their characters. Like their what's the manager guy's name? Is it Jimmy? Jimmy or no, that's not right. Tommy. Tommy is he's good. I like this.
Yeah,
actor.
well, he's a real actor. Yeah. But again, Pretty Boy, Ricky Conlon, he's a real boxer. You know, given a role to act in this film, but it is a pretty good job. Like, does he have other acting ability? I mean, acting roles. I'm not sure, but he does a decent job. When I remember when I saw this for the first time, I actually wasn't sure. Is he a real boxer or not? Like, I didn't know him enough to know if he was real or not at the time because he acted pretty good.
Well,
I think he did it perfectly.
Sorry, say that again.
Yeah, so I think he did a perfectly fine job acting in the film.
Yeah.
I think when you're the boxer that comes in a Rocky movie, you just can't screw it up. Like, no one has super high expectations for you. You just can't be bad.
Yeah.
Like, as long as you're a decent actor, you're fine. And I think this guy was okay. They didn't give him a ton of lines, which I think is good.
Right.
But the lines he did have, I think he delivered just fine.
Yeah.
And I also notice here, it's funny because he's like this boxer character we'll see is pretty aggressive, like in press conferences and stuff like that. But he's pretty meek with his manager. Like, he pushes back a little bit, but that manager isn't taking any shit. Like, he's like, no, you're doing this. This isn't an argument. This isn't a discussion. This is happening because you're a clown and you're doing this stuff. Like, he's not sugarcoating it at all. And you see Conlon just kind of nod his head and say yes. So okay, I'll do it. Like, it's interesting to see the other side of him there.
He's like the it's reminiscent of kind of I don't know if that's like very typical of manager boxer relationships, but Rocky pretty much, except for one scene, did everything Mickey told him to do. Like, it's like this father figure,
yeah.
you know?
Yeah, it's the manager's job to keep him safe and healthy.
I guess the only time Rocky kind of went against Mickey was in Rocky 2 when he was kind of out of sorts, when Adrian didn't want him to fight. Right. He was like, I'm just going to take a steam or something like that. And Mickey's...
yeah, go soak your head, kid.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Soak it good.
But even then, it wasn't Rocky being defiant as much as just lacking motivation.
Right.
Which is different.
Yeah, I think I'll do that. I think I'll do that.
I found with Creed, like, I think Creed respected Tony and vice versa, but I think Creed was much more in charge of what was happening in that situation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, nobody was telling Apollo anything, and it got him into trouble a lot.
True. Yeah, I think Creed, by the time he was champion defending the belt, he wasn't really listening to Tony anymore. Yeah, I'll be fine. I know he can throw a couple punches. He wasn't listening to Tony anymore at that point. Yeah.
I don't want to be remembered like this.
I don't care how you're remembered. I care about your kids having a roof over their head when you're done. Do you understand?
All right, so the manager wants, he obviously wants what's best for Ricky's family. He goes, look, you're going to jail. Just take the fight, take the purse, and just, what do you want? What are you doing here? Don't worry about how silly you might think it looks.
Yeah. And then they bring us back to Philadelphia via the train. Like that's how, yeah.
Yeah, it's obviously we didn't have to be told it was back in Philly with this cutscene. That's funny. It's true. Yeah, they didn't say back in Philly. It's just look at that dirty rundown. All right.
I don't know why, but I just like it.
I do too.
There's something about like that really urban kind of post-industrial look. I have no idea why I like it because I shouldn't, but there's something cozy about it for some reason.
Yeah, it is. Well, it is one of the familiar things from Rocky movies that has carried through into the Creed movies, and I think it helps us, to use your terminology, like tolerate them more. Like for us, like hardcore Rocky fans, it's like this is like comforting, this familiarity of like it's the other character. I think we've probably talked about it being an additional character of these movies.
Yeah, like going back, like when I visited Philadelphia, I loved everything about it. And I have no doubt that if the Rocky movies never existed, first of all, I would have never visited Philadelphia probably.
Mm-hmm.
And if I did, I may have liked it, but I wouldn't have liked it as much.
That's interesting.
Like it's like I think the Rocky, like kind of what Katie's saying, like there's a certain comfort and there's a certain likability you have with it because you like the film so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I've never been there. I hope to go there one day. COVID, go away.
Right.
Hello?
It's Tommy Holiday. I look after Ricky Conlon.
Yeah, how you doing?
Listen, is it true about the kid?
About the kid?
I think you and the kid have got 30 minutes for a business meeting.
All right, I'll tell you what, yeah, if you can get over here, sure, we'll talk with you, but it's got to be fast because we're training.
I can be there. A couple of days.
Yeah.
I'll be in touch.
Okay.
All right, so he's been, the phone calls are coming. And he doesn't say no right away. It's interesting. What's going through Rocky's head right now? He's not saying, no, don't bother coming, don't talk to us. But he's got to figure, it's weird because he knows he's just talked to Tommy, who's the manager of the champion over there. So he knows, like, what the conversation's going to be. So what's going through his head already?
That's a good question. I'm not sure. There was just like so much to unpack in this like little bit of time that my head can't like stay on one thing. Like there's a walled corded phone, like, and a Harvest Gold refrigerator. And he says, if you can come, fine, but we're busy. We're training for what?
Yeah, I think he's just saying they're busy. We're training. Yeah, like, and it's 30 minutes. So I know they're busy when they're training, but you're right. He won against Leo. But did he win the belt? Did he win the light whatever heavyweight thing was there? Did Leo have a belt? I can't remember.
No, like Conlon's the champ. Conlon has the belt.
No, but I thought there was a different division or different territory or something.
I don't think it was for anything. It was just like a fight to have a better record. Like
it was in light heavyweight for sure. Because Creed had to get down to $175 to fight Sperino, and that's the light heavyweight limit. Yeah, I think like Rocky knows what's up. He knows now that the Creed secret's out. There's going to be interest,
right?
And that guy called, and Rocky was purposely being cagey with him. Like he wasn't showing any sign of desperation. Like the guy calls. He asks if the Creed thing's real, Rocky did not give him an answer.
Yeah. The kid, yeah, he's out there. He's out there somewhere. Where's the
Yeah,
kid? I don't see
and
the
then
Creed kid.
that guy knew. Well, Rocky kind of said yes without saying yes,
Right.
because otherwise he would just say no right away. And that manager picked up on that right away, and then says, "Do you have 30 minutes for a business meeting?" Which, given that they're a 5 or 6 hour flight away, you normally could just have a meeting like that over the phone.
Over Zoom.
But Rocky says, "Hey, buddy, we can have a meeting, but you have to come fly here and see me for a 30-minute meeting. And I'm going to make it real clear to you that I'm not giving you more than 30 minutes, even though you're going to have to take like days in order to come see me," which is his way of saying, like, don't do this unless you're serious. So that indicates to me that Rocky is entertaining the idea of his guy fighting Conlon, which is weird. I think Rocky's conflicted about it. I think part of Rocky doesn't want him to do it, but part of him does, because that's kind of what he did back in the day.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's exactly what happened to him. The opportunity to fight the champion fell on his lap for almost the same reasons. Injured fighter, chance to fight, one in a million shot to fight the champ with no record. He had he had a professional record, but it was a horrible record. Yeah, so this opportunity is now falling to Adonis's lap. Rocky would almost be a hypocrite to deny Adonis what was given him.
He knows it's like he doesn't like it, but he knows it's inevitable.
Like he knows that if Rocky said no, or like this, they're going to circumvent Rocky and talk to Adonis directly. So he has to go in front of it and tell Adonis, because let's say he turned them down on the phone and said, "Oh no, don't come, don't talk to him," they would reach out to Adonis somehow, and Adonis would be, "Come on, Unc, how come you didn't tell me about this fight?" And it would have been a whole other.
And I wonder if he would feel too that he's depriving Adonis of making that choice. Like maybe he's not comfortable just saying no on Adonis's behalf to such a big opportunity.
Right.
That he would at least hear the guy out first before saying no. And I think also Rocky's a nice guy and would do the courtesy of giving that guy a meeting, but he isn't gonna go out of his way for it. Like he's not like, I'm gonna, he's certainly not going to England to meet this guy, and he's not going to let this guy just do it over the phone. So, although a meeting like that, if I'm the manager, I would for sure want to do that meeting in person. Because there's for business meetings at work and stuff, like I have clients all over Canada, and like before COVID, I would travel like all the time. And I could do a lot of meetings over Zoom or over the phone, but like there's something about meeting someone in person that is different that you have to do.
Agreed.
Oh man.
Thanks for taking the time. I'll get right to him. My guy needs to fight in the next 6 months. And we've beaten everybody.
You want me to fight Conlon?
I think it would be a very wise move. You've been down in Mexico doing pro fights, eh? I've got you as 15-0 down there, and with the Sparino fight, that makes you 16-0. Now, nobody needs to know these fights were in some hole in the wall, do they? Hey?
Think I'm ready?
Donnie, this man came here because he knows you're a sure thing, right? It's a sure victory.
That is not true.
Okay, so stop there for now and talk about what's happened. So, first off, this guy already knows that the first thing that people might say is he has no record. That's what Ricky Conlon brought up right away, 1-0. But this guy's done his homework. So somehow there is a record of Adonis fighting in Mexico. So those fights, though they might have been a hole in the wall in Mexico, they, I guess, count to some degree that he was able to find that record. So now he's trying to milk it by saying, "Oh, you're 16-0 now."
This guy is like, I think he's showing off that like he knows his shit. Like he's not just, he's serious. He's done his homework. And what I love about this meeting is how upfront everyone is.
Yeah.
Like he's like, guess what? I need to do a fight to make some cash, and you're the Creed guy, so let's do this. I know you're like, people will think you're a bum, but don't worry. I've got around that. We can make you look 16-0, so you're good too. Like, let's do this. And then Rocky's up front saying, "You're going to get your ass kicked." Like, I love it. I love it. It's just like no bullshit. It's just straight to the point.
Why do you think Pretty Ricky Conlan's not there? And it's just Tommy Holiday, which is another fantastic name, by the way.
Yeah.
But it's just Tommy, not the actual fighter.
Well, I wouldn't have the two of them there because it's like all these fighters are like alpha male guys, right?
But
so they're going to
Adonis
start
was there.
chirping at each other, and
True.
like it's going to get ugly fast. Like they're going to start insulting each other. Plus, Conlon doesn't actually want to do it, so he'll be like, "You're a bum. I'll knock you out," or something. Like, yeah, I would keep them separate for sure.
But as opposed to just Tommy and Rocky having a meeting.
Well,
I think that's probably the thing that would have happened. Like, it is weird that Adonis is there.
The reason why I think Adonis is there, 'cause it's a good question. Why isn't Ricky there? And I think Kyle answered that correctly. That you just want to have that tension between the fighters. Like, we just have to have a business meeting without the drama. Because already you've got the one party. Basically, the one party's already said, "Yes, I'm going to fight this guy." So it's really up to Adonis to agree to it. And for him to agree to it, it might just be easier not having the guy there, not having in front of it, maybe being intimidating and what have you. We want him to agree to it. So the manager has to come in and be nice and calm, and this will be a great fight. Oh, it's not going to be a sure victory. You don't want to. You don't want to have him say it's not a sure victory while your champion's sitting right next to you. So you got to be able to say So you got to be able to say all these selling points, saying, "Oh, you never know, you might get that lucky shot and beat this guy right next to me." No.
Good point.
Yeah, I think that's 100% right. Plus, I think if I'm Ricky, I wouldn't go there because I would see that as beneath me.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not coming down to Philadelphia to beg you to take a fight.
Yeah,
I'm the champ. You come to me. I don't come to you.
Yeah. Maybe he's on house arrest.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He might not be allowed to leave the country. Actually, that's true. They might have seized his passport.
That's right. It's a flight risk.
Where the fight happens. I don't remember. Do they go to? Yeah, they do. They go to England for the fight.
Yeah, the fight's in Liverpool.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's right. It could be a flight risk. These are all great points. It could be a myriad of reasons why he's not. It actually makes more sense that he's not there. So there you go.
Yeah, I actually think the flight risk. Like, I think everything Ryan said's true. But I would also say the flight risk is almost a sure thing.
I think we were overlooking it, and it's just a flight. He's not allowed to fly. That's funny. I keep forgetting he's going to jail. It's a plot point I keep forgetting. All right, let's finish out this interview.
He'd be out now, right? When did Creed come out?
2015. How long was he in jail for? 7 years or 5?
7. But he'd get out with, like, just because you do a 7-year bid doesn't mean you'll do the whole 7. Like, you can get let out on probation or something, so he'd be out by now, unless he was fighting in there all the time, which could be.
Well, he did get out because he was on that reality show.
Oh, that's right. That is right. I forgot about that.
And Adrian, he sent me a message, and he was dumbfounded, Kyle, that you watched that naked dating show. He couldn't believe you watched it.
That I knew about it, or that I actually went through with watching it?
The second part. That you actually you've seen it.
Oh, I'm what they call a pervert. So
no, you're not. You're not. I'm not gonna lie to you. I did Google the show to see, like, is this real? Is this real? And yeah, it's. I mean, it's just at the end of the day, it's just the human body. If you want to get down to brass tacks, like, it's, there's people that do nude paintings. It could be artistic, but yeah, they're standing there naked having a discussion about it.
Yeah, they're like, they evaluate, like, let's evaluate one dick at a time, or like one vagina at a time.
But yeah, you were kidding, Kyle. They're out. They're fully exposed, but you get all shapes and sizes. I was impressed by it's not like it's just people. It's all shapes.
It's normal people.
Yeah.
It's like they'll usually have like one really big dick in there, but like the rest are pretty normal.
Oh, my editing. Okay.
Oh my God! What channel is this show on?
Honestly, Katie, honestly, you're best off looking for that show on Pornhub. That's like the easiest way to find it.
No, I
Because
actually I went to Reddit.
otherwise you have to pay to watch it.
That seems like way too much work. I don't care that much.
I went to Reddit. I just put in. I forget what it's called again. What's it called again? Naked and Afraid or something?
Naked Attraction.
Oh, yeah. So I went on Reddit, and there's a subreddit for it, and people are like, "Hey, who was the girl? What episode was she on?" I'm like, "Okay," but anyways, it came with some pictures. People are like, "This is my favorite one." I'm like, "Okay." I got the point after about 3 threads.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, but yeah, there's a subreddit, so go there if you want to see it. Okay, here we go. Let's finish this interview here.
Yeah, it is.
So Rocket just says, "Yeah, it's a sure thing that your champ's gonna win."
Okay, listen. All right. This could be my guy's last fight. And I want to make it count. Now, on that note, we would need you to change your name to Creed. It's just a formality.
And what if I say no?
Well, then there's no fight. Without the name, there's no fight. It's a non-starter. Okay. Why don't you both take a day, talk about it, and we'll see what you say, okay? It's a good deal.
Can't do it.
All right. So I wish we were told how much he was offered.
Yeah. Because it doesn't seem like money's a consideration.
I know. Until you said that, Ryan, it didn't even occur to me.
Well, at the end, he says it's a good deal. The money was discussed before we came in as an audience. Absolutely. It would have been the first thing brought up. Like, this is I'm just picking a number. This is a $40 million purse. Adonis, you're guaranteed 2, 5 if you win. Who knows what? But he is given a guarantee win or lose. Absolutely.
I don't think Adonis is in it for the money. Like the money's not like this. He's lived in like the extreme wealth, like obscene amounts of wealth, and he's purposely left that to live this lifestyle to become a boxer.
Right.
He's not fighting to become wealthy. Like, he's already been that. He left that. He could have stayed that way. He's fighting for his own personal reasons.
Yeah, don't say it yet. Don't say it yet. We don't spoil it. But yeah, you're right. He isn't looking at the dollar signs the way Tommy Gunn was in Part 5, but but I think he's aware that money just solves, because he did go out on his own. He's not opposed to making money. We see in Creed 2, he certainly is not. Like, he has a nice big apartment building that he bought his wife or whatever it was, and so he's not opposed to having money. But you're right, he's not in it for the money. But I'm just curious what the purse was. I guess we'll never know.
Yeah, it would be like, I don't know, like light heavyweight. I don't think makes as much as heavyweight.
Yeah, true.
Unless it's like I don't know. That heavyweight's what I know. I know, for example, like Mayweather fights in the middleweight division make a ton of money. So it's not like if you're not heavyweight, you can't make a ton of money. But like, I don't think the light heavyweight division's that well known.
No, and the Mayweather fights.
Sorry, go ahead.
It's just the Mayweather fights. If it weren't Mayweather,
yeah,
he draws I mean, despite they're actually boring, but he's such a character that I mean, I don't think anybody would care if it weren't Mayweather. So to your point, heavyweight's the thing that people seem to care about.
It's true.
Yeah, especially in America. I think internationally, a lot of places like Mexico, the Philippines, a lot of their fighters are in the lighter weight divisions, and so I think those divisions internationally are more popular. But like, the money's in America and in Europe for the most part, I think. So those heavyweight fights are the ones that make the big money. But like, you could assume that this fight makes Adonis a multimillionaire.
Yeah, at least I would say it's between 2 to 5 is a safe guesstimate. For sure.
Yeah, very safe. Very safe. Yeah.
When the meeting was at Adrian's, and the real restaurant, forget the name of it off the top of my head.
Victor's, I think. Victor's?
Do you guys know if you go to Victor's, is it decorated like we see in the movie? Like, is it Rocky paraphernalia? and pictures? Do you guys know or not?
I don't know.
I don't know. I'm speculating. Yes, there's something there because I know people go there to eat.
Yeah.
Because it is Adrian. So if the
We know we would.
Yes, so if the owners are smart, they got to have something to indicate the Creed films and Rocky Balboa was filmed there. But it's just smart business, and Paulie knows about those things. So,
Oh, he does know. He does know.
I'm assuming it's not the way it is in the films. Like it's not wall to wall Rocky coverage.
mm-hmm.
I would imagine.
Yeah,
that would be kind of insane.
I'm sure somebody will let us know in an email or comment because there's somebody does know that's been there that listens to the show. So let us know.
Yeah, right. As long as they have keto and vegan food available, we totally need to go there when we go to Philadelphia.
Even if they don't, I'll just drink.
There you go.
Yeah, there you go.
That's funny.
Like, I'll have some bread and 9 whiskeys, please.
The bread to soak up the alcohol. All right, so now we're cutting to a scene of Bianca and Adonis. But, we have this great scene with Rocky and the meeting and what have you, Rocky on the phone. And then this is, again, the parts of the film where I kind of, my interest wanes a little bit. They're discussing, and they're discussing what they're about to listen to. But we have Adonis, I guess, braiding her hair.
They're in bed.
Yeah.
It's it's a tender moment. Yeah, he's doing her hair. I can't really tell from here.
Yeah, I'll hit play.
I'll say this: my wife wouldn't trust me to braid her hair.
No,
she would be like, no.
Well, do you think they've just had sex and now they're talking, or they're going to have sex? Because a man braiding a woman's hair after sex is highly unlikely.
Really? I doubt it would be before sex. Like, this is kind of some pillow talk shit, I think. Like,
it's not, or they could just be chilling. You're right. Maybe tonight's not sex night, but
yeah,
no, I think they had sex. Like, they're naked under the covers and stuff.
But she had to do her hair anyway, and so she was just like, "Why don't you help me with it?" Like, she was going to do it anyways.
Oh, okay.
I think.
Have you had a man braid your hair or give your hair a ponytail?
No, and I'm weird. I'm like, stop. Like, yeah, I wouldn't. But I don't have like hair that needs to be maintained in the way that Bianca's does.
Well, sure, it's a different style of hair, but I mean, but I want to say I did notice your hair, by the way. It's done up. It's different.
Well, I just curled it. That's so right. I normally straighten it, and I curled it today instead. I'm bored. It's COVID. There's nothing. I can't go anywhere.
Kyle and I are just throwing our pajamas. I always feel underdressed. All right, so let's play this little sequence here.
It's not my name. Plus, I want to make it on my own merit anyway.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You got a funny way of showing it.
What's that supposed to mean?
I mean, weren't Apollo and Rocky like best friends? I mean, it feels like you're trying to tap into whatever it is he left behind. I don't think that's anything to be ashamed of, But what are you afraid of?
What are you afraid of?
I don't know.
I mean, this hearing shit don't scare you?
Okay, so we'll stop it there just real quick. A lot to untangle here, speaking of hair.
First of all, I stop. I want to get this out of the way before we talk about the meat of the discussion. What the hell is he doing to her hair? Like, he's not braiding everything. He's just, like, moving the things around, like, arbitrarily.
I think he's just
what the hell is going on?
It's not doing a good job. It kind of drives me a little nuts because I'm like, oh, you're getting it more naughty. But
he's playing with it. It looks like he might just be playing with it.
No, I think he's actually trying to help her do it. But I'm with you, Ryan. Like, these scenes, like, there's just something about them that is just off the mark. All of them, these two together, maybe is what it is. Like, separate. I don't really like it, but it's like it seems to me like they're trying too hard, or like the movie makers are trying too hard to like replicate and show us, oh, this is her being Adrian and convincing him. Like, I don't know. I just
No, you're right. Well, they're at a disadvantage because we are automatically comparing that relationship to the beautiful. I mean, the Rocky and Adrian relationship it's a hard one to beat.
yeah.
They knocked it out of the park from movie one, and it was the highlight of every scene Adrian's in is wonderful. Like, is there a
Yeah.
scene that Adrian's ever in where you're like, oh, Adrian, like even yeah, but even that she was adorable.
I know it was like true.
We just love Adrian so much that we just don't want anything bad to happen to her. She's just so wonderful. But that being said, this scene bugs me for a couple reasons. One, the hair play. But two, it's like they're always trying to pick a fight with each other. It's a weird, like she's like, what are you afraid of? And right away, what are you afraid of? I know you are, but what am I? Just answer the stupid question. Just say, you know what? I'm afraid that no matter what I do, whether I succeed or fail, it's because of my father's name. Just say it. Why is this so hard to say?
Yeah, they're kind of both aggressive with each other.
Yeah.
Like weirdly aggressive. Yeah, I don't know. I think they lack chemistry, especially compared to Rocky and Adrian. And so
But we mentioned, and I only remember this because I've been editing our last episode at the time of this recording, and we talked about how, again, it's not necessarily the actor's fault here. This actually goes on Ryan Coogler's shoulders again as the writer. Maybe he's just not I don't think he's a great screenplay writer or dialogue writer. Maybe he's a good storyteller. I think he had a good story in mind. I think the story that he sold to Stallone was a good idea, and it's a good story. But the dialogue that we're hearing, that's not Rocky dialogue, it's forced and it's hammy. It doesn't make that's not a natural dialogue. Like, I just want to make it on my own. And she's kind of right where she says, "Well, that's odd because you're hooking up with Rocky." Yeah, but and then she's like, "Well, then what are you afraid of?" Like, it's a weird, like, and for him to respond again with, "Oh, what are you afraid of?" And then she goes, "I don't know." And then he goes, "Are you afraid that you're gonna go deaf?" It's like.
Yeah,
I know.
that's really like that is a fight technique people use is they try to try and bring up another issue with another person or to point out like apparent hypocrisy. Like, oh well, I'm afraid of this. Well, you're even more afraid of going deaf. Like it's a definite cheap shot.
Yeah.
Right?
I
never do that in my fights, by the way. But
Well,
I've heard other people do that.
No, of course. You'd never do that. They state the obvious, too. It's like, why do we have to have a 5-minute long scene? Like, it's just unnecessary. I think it just eats time, like, unnecessarily.
I think the idea is it's for us as an audience to see that Adonis is afraid, and
Of course he is.
No, but afraid of. We're going to find out at the end, see, this is the thing, that he's carrying this beast, that he is something, and that's what he hasn't revealed yet, because that comes at the end of the fight that he tells Rocky, the big reveal.
Could you imagine having that weight on you? That, like, you're Apollo Creed's kid? And all the expectations that come with that?
I'm sure it's
like
normal.
You'll never measure up. Because, like, those sportscasters were talking about it right away.
Yeah.
Like, can the kid fight like his old man? And it's like, well, if you take on the Creed name, you're basically all in trying to be like your dad, right? And people are going to be accusing you of taking advantage of the name. And all this attention is going to come to you because of that name. Like, that's a big decision to change that name to Creed. I'd be very hesitant to do that if I were him.
But
obviously
nobody gives
he
him a
has
chance
to because
without
of the
it.
fight.
Yeah.
But like, if I'm in his situation, like I might do it, but I would really have to think about it first.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, it's fair that he doesn't want to take on the name that he's hesitant. That's all fair, but it's just again the way it's written, the dialogue, and then they're forced fighting. It's annoying that because I want to be their forced fighting arguments is actually just annoying for me as a audience member to watch. I don't want to watch them talk about this stuff.
Yeah, you don't really feel like invested in their relationship. Like Rocky and Adrian, that like the first Rocky film put a lot of time establishing Rocky and Adrian's relationship. Like you see Rocky come into the pet store and talk to her multiple times. You have the Thanksgiving, you have the date, you have the apartment scene. like a huge part of that film is dedicated to Rocky and Adrian's relationship building up. And so when it does become a good relationship, there was like a solid foundation for that happening. Whereas in the Creed film, she has her music on too loud. He complains about it.
Yeah.
He comes down later. They go on a date and get some cheesesteaks. They kind of become boyfriend and girlfriend. He gets in a fight. Has the Spirino fight, and then she finds out that he's a Creed. Like, there's not much to that. Like, there's not much. You're not invested in that relationship at all. And so it's like they're fighting and their stuff together doesn't mean the same thing as when Rocky and Adrian fight, because you feel like with Rocky and Adrian that you're like a part of that relationship.
You know, Kyle, I hadn't thought of it until like you saying that just made me realize that we're viewing this movie incorrectly, or like maybe that's not the right way of saying it. Because of the Rocky and Adrian buildup and relationship, like most of us would probably categorize the first Rocky film as a love story more so than anything else.
Yeah.
That's not what this movie is. Like this movie at all. I mean, that's not what the story behind the movie is. Adonis overcoming, it's about that. And so it does now feel forced. Like this, we have to have the Adrian character, and like it does feel forced on us because it's not a love story.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, well, she's the new Adrian now, because you see this as almost like a soft reboot of the Rocky film. And it's like, well, she's stepping in these huge shoes of Adrian, where they built it up the last film, and they didn't do it this film because they can't, because there's so much other shit they have to cram in, and it's not working.
I always called it Creed: The Force Awakens. So
yeah.
I always knew what happened eventually, so the plan has always just been to do what I love for as long as I can. I think that's all we ever do, huh? So, what are you afraid of?
I'm afraid of taking on the name and losing. Call me a fraud. Fake Creed.
What you think about what's true? You love to fight, right? Yeah, it makes you happy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and you are Apollo Creed's son, right?
Yes.
So then use the name. It's yours.
Oh, there you go. Well, that part ended okay with her saying that was actually good dialogue there, for her saying, "Hey, you like to fight, you enjoy fighting. I don't mind that you fight. It only makes sense if you enjoy fighting. Then take that fighter's name. Just take it. It's your dad. Apollo Creed is your dad. So just take the name."
Honestly, I feel like she didn't really address this concern that much.
Well, that was a plot point because he's hiding what he's afraid of.
Okay, even if he is, but like the concern he said was, I'm afraid of losing and being called like a fake Creed, basically embarrassing myself, setting myself up as a Creed and then losing and falling short. And it's like, I felt like if he said that to me, I might say something along the lines of, okay, well, why are you doing this? Like, are you fighting to become just like your dad, or is he fighting because you want to fight? Like, does it matter what other people think or what you think of yourself? Like something along those lines. But she's just like, well, it's your dad's name, you could take it. Like, yeah, of course you can, but like, why are you afraid of losing, essentially, is what I would ask.
Katie?
I don't know. I'm kind of over this scene. They could have done it in half the time. Was there ever any doubt that he was going to do it and use the name? I don't know. I'm done with it, with the scene.
Well, let's move on. Let's just see what's next, and then we'll, I think about, yeah. So we'll start.
Sorry, can I say one more thing?
Yeah, of course. I'm just going to see what's playing while you're talking, just to see what.
I almost would have preferred to have that kind of conversation between him and Marianne. where she gives him permission to use the name Creed.
Ooh, that's a much better writing.
Mhm.
That's a much better scene.
Where she,
It is.
that now he is a boxer, now that it's happening, and she tells him that, like, it doesn't matter if he loses or not, like, this is who he is a Creed, and he should do what he loves to do, like, where she kind of comes around. You do see her come around at the end of the film, but that would have been a better opportunity for her.
That would have been great, because for her to deliver that line in the way Felicia Rashad is able, she's a great actress, for her to say the line, because she said it before, you are your father's son. But now she could have turned that around and said, you are Apollo Creed's son. Like, more of the supportive way.
Or she's like, do you think Apollo wasn't afraid to lose or something? You know what I mean? Like,
she did say, she does, I think, say something along those lines later. We did kind of skip past when the sportscasters were talking. She was watching that.
Yeah, good point.
And I wondered what you guys thought, what she was thinking. Was she concerned about Apollo? Like, was she, because they were like, oh, does this embarrass the family? Like, they didn't want this to come out. Do you think that that's more what she was concerned about? Or
I think she was. I think, honestly, she's a very proper woman. She's of that demographic age group where, infidelity's never not been frowned upon, but it's just, she comes from that kind of proper upbringing type personality. For her to be outed as someone that was duped, it's embarrassing.
Mm-hmm. But then it's sort of like, oh crap, she was trying to protect Adonis from all this life, this side of things, and now it seemed also like she had concern for her son, that he's going down the same path that her, so she's like, oh, I'm gonna have to live this all over again.
The irony is, again, it's funny how one of my favorite authors, one of my favorite thinkers, philosophers, of course I know you've heard of him, Kyle, Sam Harris. He has a book on lying, and I highly recommend this. It's a very easy read. It's like 110 pages, 100 pages. It's basically like a long essay on lying. And he makes the argument that there's never a good time to lie. Not saying like, oh, I don't like that dress on you. You don't have to offer hurtful words, even though that might be your truth. But the point is, he makes the argument that you should never lie, ever, about anything. And so if you go back to the beginning of the film, when Marianne adopts Adonis, she should have just never made any bones about it. Like, you are Apollo's son. I am taking care of you out of the love that I have for my ex-husband. Yes, this is painful for me. And just always made it known, because by the time that he's like 10, 11, by the time he's 30, nobody cares anymore. It's old news. At that point, that whole commentary from the boxing commentators would have been it's old news. There would have been no big reveal, and all these other dramas about the name and all this stuff. Like, he would have had time to process this. She would have, this is funny how everyone had just been open and honest about how we got here, how this started, all these little dramatic, painful little events that are happening right now regarding the name. I guess we wouldn't have a movie, but I'm just saying, this is the argument of just tell the truth, and people will deal with it how they're going to deal with it.
She didn't lie to him.
No, but I mean to the world. To the world.
But there wasn't ever like they didn't need to have an announcement about it. Like,
well, yes and no, but I mean, here's the thing, he was Adonis Johnson is how he was raised. Was he wasn't raised as Adonis Creed, was he? I think he was raised.
He was Adonis Johnson as a kid in juvie and stuff, I'm quite sure.
But he never took the Creed name. He never took the Creed name. I guarantee you at his job, his paychecks were Adonis Johnson.
Well, okay, say you're adopted at 9. Say you're the product of infidelity, but you're Ryan Rebalkin. Say your mom's maiden name was Rebalkin, just for the sake of argument.
Yeah, I'm listening.
And then you're adopted by your equivalent of Marianne Creed. Would you change your last name if, like,
a lot
for
of people
the first
do.
10 years of your life? If you're the first 10 years of your life, you had Rebalkin as your last name, would you change it?
Well,
that's who you are.
I know I hear you, but it happens.
It could, yeah.
No, it happens a lot. I had a friend, a coworker, who they adopted a 17-year-old kid, 17-year-old, and he took their last name because that's his family now. That's the thing that they're now saying that it all depends on who's adopting who, what the relationship is. But the idea is that these are two people. Usually, it's two people. These are two people that adopted me. I'm taking their name. They're taking me on. I'm taking their name. That probably happens more often than not in adoptions.
But then it's like with a name like Creed, it's like that's taking on a lot. It's not like he changed his last name to Smith or something. Like Johnson's a very generic name, right?
Right.
Like say it's the other way around, and he changed it to Johnson. Say it was Apollo Johnson all the way along, and then the woman Apollo Johnson slept with was last name Creed, but no one cared about that name either.
Yeah.
Switching to Johnson doesn't really matter because there's a billion Johnsons out there.
Right.
But it's like Creed is such a name that everyone knows, right? So it's like if they know you're a Creed, everyone's going to ask, wait a minute, I didn't know you were a Creed. Since when does Creed have 3 kids? Like it invites a lot of questioning, and so it's like, and if you don't want to be like, oh, yeah, I'm the product of my dad's infidelity, and then I was in juvie, and then like my dad's wife took me on. Like I don't know.
You don't have to have a press conference. I guess I don't know. I guess at the end of the day, always tell the truth. In all times, in all cases, tell the truth. Then you never. Here's the thing: if you always tell the truth, doesn't mean you have to advertise everything about your life. I'm not saying don't keep things private. I'm just saying it's a fine line between. If you're, this is just a stupid thing. If you're always open and honest, you never have to worry about what the world thinks or what you have to say when you're approached. You're just always. You don't have to think of the story. You don't have to wonder what the story is going to be when things come out. Like that's the story. I am who I am. There's nothing to hide. I mean, we're not talking about private life. I'm just saying public, like with your work, your wife, your better half, or whatever, your kids. I've just noticed in my life there's been so much drama in my personal life when people weren't honest.
Fair point. The only thing I'll say to that is Creed never lied when he went by the name Adonis Johnson.
That was his foster name or his maiden name. Yeah, maiden name, yeah.
Taking the name Creed's a very proactive thing, right? Like, it's not like his name was Creed all along, and then he changed it to Johnson to avoid speculation. Like, that was his original name, right? So it's like...
Well, here's the thing. We talked about this. So Marianne, when she adopted him, that's what I mean. She never told Tony this is Apollo's son then. That we have to assume that. She didn't tell anybody. Except for Donis.
Wait, did we decide on that?
Yeah, honestly, I would like to see, that's what they should do in Creed 3, is go back and show more of that missing time period. Yeah. Like,
him as a 12-year-old.
When he was first brought home to the Creeds, because like, everybody knew, I mean, they were famous. And so it's like now all of a sudden there's just like a third kid. And like, so everybody had to have known. Like their inner circle had to have known this.
Yeah, we talked about that. Like, that Tony was training. Like we worked out the timeline. That Tony was training Rocky in Rocky Balboa when Adonis was living with Marianne.
Yeah.
So either Marianne didn't tell Tony, or Tony didn't tell Rocky. Again, people withholding.
Well, so the thing about that,
why would he tell Rocky? It's none of Rocky's business.
Okay, yes, but but don't forget, like, yeah, but Apollo was Rocky's best friend, and he died in the ring. There's a real close connection here. Like this, he spoke at his funeral. Like this, like, oh, by the way, like that's a hard one to bury. Can you imagine? Oh, I'm going to train you to fight Mason Line Dixon. Oh, by the way, Apollo has a bastard child. That I can't imagine. That doesn't.
You guys, the idea of the Creed movie didn't exist then, so it's unfair to put that. Like, you can't retroactively.
Well, I know.
No. He's not saying you should say even off camera, right? Like Tony trained Rocky, and of course that wouldn't be mentioned in the film. But you could say in that universe, during that training, a scene they wouldn't have shown in the film. When Tony and Rocky are kind of catching up on things or whatever. that didn't come up. That would be kind of like, yeah, I could see him saying that, Ryan, to your point, because they are very close.
Yeah, guys talk.
But
I mean,
it's
people
like,
talk. There's just no way. I just can't imagine. That's huge news. Like, oh, by the way, Apollo sired a child when he died in the ring. Like, that's a huge part of their life. I can't imagine it's never brought up. So I have to assume Tony didn't know.
it's a weird line between privacy and honesty.
But yeah, and
Right.
I know that if Marianne could have said to Tony, and this is in the universe, we know obviously the movie wasn't conceived, the Creed film, but we would say in the universe, Marianne could have said, Tony, I've got something very important to tell you. You're like a brother to me, but you can't tell Rocky. And then Tony honored that. And I could see Tony honoring Marianne's request. So either Tony was never told or Marianne said, don't tell Rocky. Simple.
Probably the latter.
Yeah.
I mean,
Good stuff. This is a good discussion. Yeah, this is, again, I hope our listeners can maybe tell us what they think. Did Marianne tell Tony? And if so, then we can only assume that Tony was told not to say anything. Yeah.
Yeah, too bad they never went on like the Maury show to find out who the father was.
Can you imagine if they did a DNA test that was Tony's kid?
He's like, I got you, champ. I got you.
You know me, Stallion. I always think of something.
Yeah.
we don't need this in our life.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Actually, I did a meme of that. That's one of my favorite memes I did was how Creed, how the Creed franchise started, and it showed Creed saying the words, "You know me, Stallion. I never use condominiums."
Oh yeah.
Or he's like to Apollo. He's like, finish this bum and let's go home.
Oh no! Is he talking? Is he talking to the girl?
So I don't. Maybe he's telling Apollo to hurry up with it and get out.
Yeah, when he was saying, "Oh man, I feel born again," I think he just had sex before that.
Yeah, probably.
Because it was it literally whoever was pregnant with Adonis was during that fight. She was pregnant with child.
Yeah, no, Apollo busted that nut a while back. Like that's
not just earlier that day. Also,
poor Ryan with his
women weaken legs. So if he were to have followed Mickey's
that's why he lost. That's why he lost against Drago, is because he was his legs were, because there's a scene in the second round of that fight against Drago. The commentators specifically say Apollo's legs are gone.
Oh, there you go.
Do they?
Yeah.
Yes, they specifically say that. So
it was all
now,
dancing around to James Brown.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we can assume that he had coitus before the dance sequence, and he had his legs weakened. He danced and had coitus. Yeah, There you go. All right. Well, that is the end of today's episode. The next episode will start with Adonis visiting Rocky in the restaurant. So there you go. In the basement part where the kitchen is, I think. Thank you so much, guys, for coming on. As always, it's a pleasure and a joy. So again, listeners, please give us a review on iTunes, Patreon, email, Twitter follow. Let us know that you love us. We love you. We loves yous too. We appreciate you guys listening every episode. It's fun. And oh yeah, Hector did ask you about for our listeners who aren't Patreon. I did cut out a part of the episode. That's what the Patrons got to hear, our pre-show banter about me asking you guys about the Rambo series. And I was editing that, and I was like, oh, do I keep that in for everyone else to hear? Because it was like a private conversation. But I took it out. But I think it would be good if you guys wanted to stick around for the Rambo series. That's all. Think about it. I mean, you might be burnt out by the time we get to Creed 2. I understand. No obligation right now. But I want to let you know that I would love to have you on. But I have no obligation is all I'm saying. I won't.
You know what? I'll keep going and see how it goes. I'm not going to commit to doing the whole thing, but I'll certainly just keep on punching with the episodes into the Rambo, and if it works, it works, and if it doesn't, it doesn't.
Yeah, no pressure.
I have a camo sweater that I plan to wear for the inaugural episode.
Wow.
It's a camouflage. And I think that my dog Rambo would be very disappointed in me if I didn't.
There you go.
Oh, Ryan, Oh, sorry, Katie. I'm a real bad interrupter. I'm really sorry for.
Not at all.
My cousin visited Hope, BC, like just a couple weeks ago, and got a picture. They have like a little Rambo statue there.
Yeah. Yeah, it's new. The new statue. You've all seen it, right? The new statue there, the Rambo statue.
No.
I hadn't until she had a picture beside it.
Oh, okay. I thought I posted that. Maybe I didn't. Okay. It's cool. There's a Rambo statue in Hope, BC.
That's where it was filmed.
Yeah, that's where it's filmed. Yeah, and I've been there, of course.
Yeah, surprising amount of movies are filmed in Vancouver or Toronto. Because they would look just like American cities.
They have better like tax laws or something. I wonder, like for
better dollars, the state's dollars. You get more bang for your buck, and it's cheaper production. So it's just everything's cheaper to do all the same stuff in Canada that you do, and it looks like Toronto looks like any city in the States, right? So
yeah.
All right, guys. Well, it was Kyle took us out last time. So Katie.
Ding.
No, do it again. I only got one ding. Do it again.
Ding, ding.
There you go. Awesome. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Have a good week. It'll probably be it'll be a couple weeks. Let me look at the calendar. But
yeah, I might be out of town.
Okay.
So we'll have to play it by ear. But like even then, if I'm in the hotel room or something, I can do it.
Well, actually, next week I'm recording the Stolen Podcast Network episode next week, so it will be 2 weeks anyway. So enjoy Biden.
Thank you.
He's not president yet, though, right? Till the 20th.
I know we've got to wait. We've got 70 COVID-filled days left. But it's just getting bad. So we definitely need Biden. So, but yeah, we're, there's a, nice collective sigh of relief, and yeah, we're excited.
Colorado pulled through well as usual. You guys,
yes.
There's no question whether you guys voted for Biden or not.
No question, and we booted our senator in a big way as well.